Hey there, it's Wilco to Kreij here with all of you, and today I want to talk about the steps you need to take to grow your business. And when I talk about growing a business, I'm not talking about, woohoo, we just grown our business by 10% or 20%, because the way I see it, this day and age, if you're growing your business by like 10 or 20%, for example, per year, then it means you're stuck, right? That's not actually growing a business. When I look at my business, I try to double my business every single year. Does it always work? No. Does it often work? Does it often double? Yes, most years it actually does double. And I believe that at almost every stage of the business, it is possible to double the business in a year. And I know some of you are going to think like, oh, sure, Wilco, that's not possible. Sure, it's not always possible, but it's way more achievable, way more doable than most people think. If your business isn't at 8 figures yet, then in most cases, it is very much doable to double your business in a single year. Is it easy? No. Is it possible? Very much yes. And that's what I want to go deeper into in this video. Because if I look back at my business, right? Like for those of you who don't know me, I started out literally in my grandmother's basement, like shooting videos, trying to do stuff, like stuck, like not being able to get everything done. And like fast forward a couple of years, right now I run multiple 7-figure businesses, right? So how do you do that? And how do you actually grow your business that fast? Because when I look at my previous years, most of the years I've been able to more than double the business. And when I say double the business, I'm talking about the revenue, simply because that's the easiest way to measure, right? Like obviously you can look at like how many people you have in your team or how many clients or whatever, but like I figured revenue is the most easiest thing, right? And when I looked closer at how I actually grow my business, I noticed that like without any difference, it's always been that like I had a couple years of like steep growth, right? Like where it more than doubled the business, and then completely flat. It does not grow at all, like maybe like 10% or whatever, like pretty much flat for a while, right? And then I get to a period where it grows again, like really, really fast, right? And then completely flat. And then it grows completely flat. Like that, this has been going on from when I started very, very early on, when I was doing, I know, like a normal salary, basically, like nothing very major, then to the next level. Like first time I had 6 figures, first time I had 7 figures, like all these different levels, but every single time I grew very fast and then I hit a plateau. It grew very fast, then I hit a plateau. Grew very fast, hit a plateau. And if you look at it, if you put that on a map, or on a graph, it looks like a step, right? Like step, flat, up, flat. And when I look at it, the real reason why that is the case, like every single time, you believe it and you know it's true and you're going for it and you're like energized, and what's going to happen is that you're going to hit that goal, right? So for me, it always does the same thing. I set a certain goal, and then as soon as I believe it, I know what to do and I hit that goal, right? But then something frustrating and annoying and irritating is actually happening, because as soon as I hit that goal, right? So let's say I had a goal years back of like, oh, I want to do 6 figures a year, right? So I had that goal, I worked my ass off, I made it happen. And I was like, all right, cool, now what? So the logical thing to do is to set a new goal, right? So you would think that logically, right, if you were able to make that first goal work, you should be able to make that second goal work as well. And that's where, at least I always went wrong, right? Because whenever I set that next goal, even though I set that goal of, let's say, like 300,000 a year or whatever that was back then, even though I set that goal, I didn't really believe it, right? I sort of had that goal, but I didn't truly, with every fiber in my body, believe that I could make it happen, right? And because of that, the business didn't grow. It was flat because I didn't have the confidence to actually make it work. And every single time when I set a goal, I hit the goal, and then it took me quite a while to rewire my brain to actually believe that I could hit the next goal. And as soon as I truly actually believed it, right? Not kind of believed, or like not that one single energetic moment where I'm like, oh, I can make this happen, but every single day, without a shadow of a doubt, knowing that I was able to hit that goal. As soon as I had that moment, which usually took me like quite a while, sometimes even a year, right? Before I actually got to that point. As soon as I hit that moment, boom, I got traction again. I knew exactly what to do. I worked my ass off and I made the next goal happen. And then guess what? What happened? I set that goal, and usually I set the goal quite long in advance. Like, oh, I want to hit this goal in like a year from now, or like a year and a half or whatever. And usually what happened, as soon as I believed it, I made that goal happen a lot faster than I thought. Like within half a year, like boom, all of a sudden it happens, right? Because like if someone else is in your industry and they're doing like 10 times they have 10 times the size of your business, like why are they able to do it? Like this is a limiting belief to think like, oh, it's going to take me years to get there, right? It's just, it's not that way. Like you can build up things pretty fast if you know what to do, right? So every single time I hit that goal, like I set a new goal, I believed it, and boom, I hit it. And then you would expect that I would have learned from it, and like I would set bigger goals, or I would set, I would make sure I keep myself motivated. So I just keep on growing. But so far, I've never really been able to break that pattern. It's always growth, plateau. And I'll tell you one example where I had that plateau, right? And how I broke through it, because obviously that's what you're here for, to learn also how to make sure you're not limited by that same plateau, the way I was, and the way I've been many times during my career. And like to me, the fastest way to break that limiting belief, and the fastest way to actually believe that the next thing is possible, right, is to mingle myself, to surround myself with people who are already ahead of me, right? So I remember a couple of years ago, I joined Russell's Brunson Inner Circle, right? And that was exactly the point where I had a plateau as well. And then I went to that meeting, and there was all these kind of people who like, and everyone's very open about how well they're doing. You can just ask like, hey, what level you're at, and people will share, not to brag or anything like that, but just because it gives an idea of like where everyone's at in their business, right? And nothing is bad or wrong or good or bad, or you know. And I was at the meeting, the first Inner Circle event, like mastermind, with like 25 entrepreneurs who were doing really, really well, and quite a few of them, their business was like 3-4 times as big as mine. And I was like, and I was talking to them, and I'm like I don't want to sound like a dick, but they're not that smart, right? Like they're smart, but like they're not way smarter than I am. Like if they can pull it off to have 3-4 times as big of a company, then I can surely do it. And like I looked at their products were like kind of okay, where I put all my sweat and like all my energy into creating our products awesome, right? So Viral and Connecteo, I've been working at them with our team for years now. So like I really stand behind them, right? So I was like, if you guys can do with that business and that product 3 or 4 times as much revenue as I am, then I can definitely do it, right? So that really made the switch in my mind of like, wow, right? If they can do it, I can pull it off as well. And within that 1 year, I tripled my business just because I saw other people doing it. Like this year we grew, right? Like more than 10%, but we didn't double it, like, right? So it's in between, like it's not stuck, but at the same time, we didn't go for like massive growth. Even though we improved the team is way better, like hold the foundation, and we have more than doubled that. But right now, this year, we're going to double the business for sure. And in order to get there, I needed to take that leap of faith and take that, basically mingle myself with people around me. So I do believe that as long as you don't have your mind straight, as long as you don't believe in your actual goal, you will not hit it, right? So it's not like if you believe it, it will come. But if you don't believe it, it will definitely not come. It's more like that. You still need to put in the work. You still need to put in, you still need to do all the right things. Like for example, right now, just recently I went to an event. It's called Genius Network in Phoenix in the US with the exact same reason. Right now I feel like I'm not very clear on how to double the business next year. And I know, like I kind of know I'm going to do it, but I still had that doubt, right? So the last week I went to Phoenix to mingle myself with entrepreneurs who are way ahead of me, right? I spoke to various people who run, crazily enough, 9-figure business. Like they do over $100 million a year, which obviously blew my mind. Now, is that something I can pull off right now? No. Like step by step, take it easy. But it definitely stretched my mind. So the whole reason why I went to that event is not to learn the latest tactic, not to learn the latest strategy hack or whatever it is that I know a lot of people are after these days. I went there with one reason alone, and that was to stretch my mindset. Recently I spoke to a friend of mine. He was kind of struggling a while back, and I just reached out to him, and he told me like, oh yeah, it's going well because we're spending $500,000 on Facebook ads with a really very good ROI every single month. I'm like, what? That like that's how fast things can go, right? That's really what I wanted to share with all of you, that growing a business is really, I would say, a stairway to grow, right? You will grow for a while and you plateau for a while. You grow for a while, you plateau for a while, and that is fine as long as you keep pushing forward. Try to connect with people who are growing their business a lot faster than you are, because that's the fastest way to overcome that limiting belief and to actually make sure to stretch my belief of what is possible. Because I know that if I stretch that belief, which I have, which it totally blew my mind, and now I know I'm going to be able to do it, and accept that there's going to be periods of very fast growth and there's going to be periods of plateau where you focus on the foundation of your business, where you make sure everything is all working correctly so that you're ready for the next spurt of growth right after.